Hi. How's it going?
Hi,
Good.
guys.
Doing
How's everybody doing?
Doing all
good.
right.
All right.
You guys
Doing great.
feeling good tonight?
Oh, I'm feeling awesome.
Well, let's get cracking. I just do that. It's tradition now. It's like hitting a champagne bottle on the side of a boat
Let's get
right
metaphysical.
before the cruise.
Let's get metaphysical,
Oh,
physical.
wait. You
Mhm.
got problems here. I got to turn this off. Boom. Okay. Can you guys hear me now?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Welcome to Meta Egg, where we look at the meta aspects of media. We use tools like synchromysticism and other tools like putting a record on during a movie and seeing how the two line up to get sort of like epiphanies on how those two pieces of media might relate. One of the OG greats of this type of artwork is with us tonight, David Charles Plate. How you doing?
Hello. Pretty
Did we
good. How are you?
lose Zactron
He'll be
3030
back.
here?
He'll be back in due course, I'm sure.
We also have our friend Zactron, who is a friend of both David and I, and the particular pairing that we are watching today or tonight or wherever you may be in the future is something that I've watched with him at least 2 times, if not more. Zach, you want to say hi to us? Is he there?
That's
Nope, Zach's gone. Zach
Yeah.
will be back. I have watched this with him multiple times, so we kind of tackled like taking notes. I took notes about the first part. He took notes about the second part. Now he's going to tell me that the CIA has busted in and has taken all of his equipment, just being able to make it and plugged it. Okay, he'll be back.
Okay, whatever. We're good.
So the pairing that we're talking about is, let's see, 1992's Bitter Moon, directed by Roman Polanski and starring Peter Coyote. And correct me if I'm wrong,
Yeah.
but Roman Polanski's wife?
Yes. Emmanuel Steiner is Roman Polanski's wife. Yeah.
For how long when they made that movie?
Oh, we'd have to do a
Deep dive? Okay,
I'm a decent encyclopedia, but yeah, no, I don't know the exact years of that. But yeah, it has controversy in both directions because this is obviously 1980. We should have invited I was just talking to Alex. Like Alex knows all about this stuff too.
Well,
yeah.
it's up to you. I was really reluctant to just even have Zach on.
Right.
I
So
don't
we
want,
can
you know, like you and I
focus on
both
it.
have stated like how difficult it is. with
Right.
too
What
many.
was happening right there is I was realizing that there's information that he's hip to that we wouldn't have to. It would just go. But
Oh yeah, for sure. I think I'm
yeah.
thinking I'm gonna plan something else with Alex. I don't know, like
Okay. So you have
I've been thinking about doing this. I've been thinking about doing another show that's basically like deep film analysis or whatever, where you just take one movie and you either have one guest or a group of guests or a special guest, kind of like look at just the movie,
Sure.
just to kind of like zero things in. But
Yeah.
I haven't really said anything to him. I know that Alex is cool doing the show though. Can you hear me fine? Am I close enough to the mic?
And Zach says he's back, so you might want to add him into the call.
Zach is back.
Zach Attack is back. But yeah, so you have Hugh Grant is in this movie, and then you have
Can
all
I
the
hear you,
controversy. Then you have all. Can you hear me?
Zach,
Oh, we got no sound.
go ahead. David Charles Plate.
Okay. Well, you have Hugh Grant, and if you watch like that Dana Carvey stand up from the 90s where he's talking about Hugh Grant with the prostitute and all of that, it's so funny. But you know, so you have very similar kind of controversies in both directions, like in the film, as far as like Polanski with Samantha Geimer in 1980, and then you have in the future from the film, like from when the film was produced, you have Hugh Grant's controversy, and so it's kind of like loaded in both directions in a similar way. And then like the film itself, you know, this is an interesting poster for it. I mean, you know, she does this kind of floor dance, and if you look at the album and what's actually being played in this scene, it's literally describing, she's like Art Deco out on the floor.
Right.
Like on the floor.
You're so Art Deco, but that's what that looks like. It looks like a statue that would be in front of an like Art Deco building in Gotham City or something.
Or something, yeah.
I don't know, man. I have okay. I got a weird. I got I got an issue. I got an issue
Okay.
here because there's like this weird, based off the ones that we've already watched. Okay,
Yeah.
so we've kind of have we kind of had. Let's see if we can recap real quick. We
Oh, somebody said
have
they married in '89,
the
so we have
White
that.
Album Polanski movie, right?
Yeah.
So we have Rosemary's Baby, right?
Yeah.
Now,
Whoa.
in a way, okay, in a way, Bitter Moon is basically Roman Polanski making his own wife do perverted stuff. You know what I mean?
Sure.
He's like some
Yeah.
sort of weird voyeur cuck or something, you know? And he's like,
Right.
because it's basically Indecent Proposal, right? For those who have not seen Roman Polanski's Bitter Moon, is a couple. I mean,
yeah. I mean, there's a relatability there for sure. Yeah.
they're on a cruise on their. Are both couples on their honeymoon?
Yes. Well, they're not obviously Peter Coyote and Emmanuel Siner are not on their honeymoon, but Hugh Grant
Right.
and his wife
Okay,
are.
so that's not their. They are just on a cruise. The older couple meets the younger couple.
And it's like a
Yeah.
second honeymoon, kind of.
Sure.
Third
Totally.
honeymoon.
After his paralyzation. Peter Moon has been paralyzed. The story is played in tandem to what's happening on the cruise ship. You're also seeing flashbacks about Sanders. How do you pronounce our last name? Emmanuel Sanders.
Siner.
Siners.
Siner.
Siner. So Siner and Coyote have a relationship, but Coyote gets a little bit party hungry, steps out of a police cab and gets sideswiped.
Right.
In traffic.
It's total spoiler alert, but that's fine. Screw it.
Well, spoilers alert. You're right. I'm sorry,
we
but
have
on
to.
Meta
If
Ed,
we're gonna
you can
do this, we have
expect
to.
spoilers. You can expect leaks.
And
you
I
can
think
expect weird shit.
right out the gate, you have to address the Peter Coyote and Coyote Lounge connection.
Right. Because that's
Turn
where
your
Sharon
sound
Tate
up just a little.
Sharon Tate ate at the Coyote Lounge that earlier in the night before she was killed.
Yeah, it was the last meal.
Her last meal was at the Coyote Lounge.
I feel okay. So
look at Peter Coyote's meal on the cover.
Right. There's also the connection of Peter Coyote in E.T., where even though he's not the father, he plays the father figure.
Man,
and
he plays the
the keys. He plays the keys initially. You don't see a grown adult other than the mother, and the teacher is the one exception. But until
then he and the mother are like inseparable. After you've seen him,
right.
he's
There's
like
a whole
the Darth
thing.
Vader
And
person.
so
He becomes like the surrogate father.
Right. I actually was just talking about this with Jake, where I was making the comparison, obviously, of the Sistine Chapel, which shows up in Rosemary's Baby, with the hand of God touching the finger of Adam, and the way that the E.T. Iconography included this with the moon. And so it's all about the moon. Like we're seeing this with bitter moon and what's being communicated there. There's also these water themes. So this is on a cruise ship. And this is after everything had happened after Roman Polanski left the country, which is after the judge bringing up the strange synchronicity, like in his last meeting with the judge, where he says, I find it really strange that you have these water themes in your film, and this incident occurred in water. And so because Polanski's first film is Knife in the Water. He's had this repeated thematic thing. And so the judge is there like, hey, before I came here, I went ahead and watched a bunch of your movies, and I find it really strange that you have this association. And it's like, so wait, you're taking a synchronicity and applying it, like, where's the line? Like, how do you know what's what? It's really interesting. But yeah. Thematically, you'll notice that there's the reoccurrence of like the syringe in this movie when it lands in the wood and it's sticking straight up, and then she sticks it in his leg anyway. And the way that the knife at the end of Rosemary's Baby lands straight up in the wood. I think that there's one in the Death and the Maiden, another Polanski film, and there's several other examples of that same.
I don't know, man. This is weird because first off, magic is implied in Rosemary's Baby, right?
Right.
And then you have this like magical weird ritual that happens to the dude's wife, right? which is the Manson event.
So I looked it
And-
it up. Synchronicity would have it. Emmanuel Signer's birthday was just a couple days ago, June 22nd, 1966.
Oh, interesting.
So at the time of the Manson murders, August 8th, Emmanuel Signer would have been 1,144 days old.
I think she actually technically died on August 9th,
So
but
then,
the murders lasted 2 days.
yeah, and so I
The Bianca
included
murders.
I included the end date in it. So if
Mhm.
it's
Okay.
if it's vague there, then
Mhm.
it still checks out as a
wait.
1144.
How old was she?
Well, 1,144 days at the time of the Manson murders, or 37 months.
Mm. Oh, interesting. Yeah. So,
That's a little gross. Okay.
Well, yeah. I mean, sure.
That's a little gross.
Okay. So there's some, like, when I share this movie with people, there's this point towards the center of it, maybe, I don't know exactly where, but there's a point where, the whole thing flips, where he's been giving this woman this certain kind of treatment, which is really negative, and then he gets the instant karma, and the next cycle of the movie is everything coming back upon him. And so there's a place in the album that it's a double album, so it almost feels like it should be the end of it. I say double because there's 2 LPs that I have in my record of it, right? But there's this part where she's speaking to time, and it almost sounds like she's talking about time travel, because she's like, saying that in each moment, everything that goes into the choices that you're making and the way that things can play out in really like abrupt ways. I don't remember exactly how she communicates it. We could find the lyrics, but it's not a song. It's just literally her talking before a song, and it's the interim. And it's so applicable to what happens in that scene where Peter Coyote gets hit by that bus, because it's just in that moment he drops something or he runs out of the cab, and then all of a sudden his life has changed. And so which we're looking here, what song's called? High on the Beach, Art Deco, burnt.
It's so
It's T.S. Eliot. So she's literally reading T.S. Eliot in that part. It's a minute.
Oh yeah. I know
long.
what you're talking about. That's discombobulating. As far as like, again, we have another good case of how like the scenes are almost separated by songs, which was really fun to watch. But like in the other Lana Del Rey, I kind of felt like Summertime was like the big banger. I'm pretty sure that it was The Blackest Day when the couple's dancing, when it's the flashback.
Both times
She's dancing with the same dude at that.
And
it's really fucking impressive, man.
That guy that shows up the first time and the second time that The Blackest Day plays, he was Madonna's main choreographer for years.
I have notes on that. And totally. Yeah, we can get there. I can hold off on that. I was gonna say, if only this album was a minute longer, too.
Why is that? Because of the timing? 60? What does it say? 65?
666.
I see. 656. Yeah. Interesting.
Which would be like her birthday too, right? Like in 66.
Yeah. 66 was Signer's the year of her birth.
Bro, come on, guys. You guys are making me feel weird and awkward.
Yeah,
it's weird, right? Like the dude like magically makes his wife die, and then a chick who's like 36 months when she dies, he marries 20 years later, and he basically makes her do weird stuff.
What do you mean magically makes his wife die? What do you mean? What are you referring to?
I'm sorry, bro.
What are you talking about?
That's a giant leap. And
I didn't say that. That was the other mushroom tulpa. No, I'm sorry. No, I'm sorry, but I mean that kind of feels weird. Like there's magic is implied.
Oh, I mean this sync is wild. The whole tone of it from the very get-go. A lot of sync films are at this like. I've watched maybe more of David's movies than anyone else. Maybe
Thin is healthy. Let's just say that.
No, it's been a healthy amount, but I've had the unique experience of actually watching this one with David, and I wasn't a big Lana Del Rey fan. I was looking. It would have been 5 years ago. That was 2019 that I was out there, which doesn't even seem possible.
Wow, it just feels weird to say that 19 was 5 years ago.
Yeah, right. But yeah, I actually caught a little bit of the earlier show, and David, that you were talking about the profundity and the mundane, and I sent, I don't know if you saw the picture I sent you that I took when I was out there, and it was these people in burqas on the roller coaster, or like the tram around the park.
Oh yeah,
And it
I
was
remember that.
especially profound because we had just watched, what was it, Get Out or Us? I can't remember.
We probably Us. Yeah.
Yeah, which has a scene at that amusement park that we were at, and it was like already weird. But yeah, the picture I sent you, it's like a dummy caveman going one way in the tram because it like turns around on the turnstile, and then these like two like Islamic women going the other way, but they had like the pattern of the Twin Peaks thing on their dress. So just but with this with Bitter Honeymoon, it's so slow and rocky feeling compared to a lot of sync films where there's like a consistent steady beat and rhythm, and it's really
they share the same pace, and it's a very relaxed pace.
It's gorgeous and sexy and like all these things that the 60s were, and it's just like there's so much resonance, but like in that part, see, where was it?
Turn your sound up, Zach.
Is that better?
Oh yeah, it's okay. Yeah, it's good. I can hear you. Yeah, I think they can too.
Okay,
yeah, you're good.
Cool.
There you go.
I think it's towards the end, or towards the middle of the end there, where she is not really giving him even the time of day, and she's on like the banana phone.
Yeah.
And like there's some I think it's actually right before Madonna's dancer friend.
That's right, it is.
Yeah. But it's talking about like you want it darker and darker, and it's like there's some very phallic stuff with her butt and the banana phone, and like the connection with
with the banana phone. Dude, she like sword fights with a dildo.
Oh yeah, there's a ton of it, but yeah, there's this whole specific thing specifically with what happened in Jack Nicholson's hot tub.
I'm just realizing you're flipping through this. You might land on something that's not suitable for YouTube.
Oh yeah,
FYI. Yeah, you're kind of playing Russian roulette
for the most unsuitable thing I could find, which was
You're
him dressed as a pig.
on YouTube.
Because I'm telling you guys, Roman Polanski has been dressed as a pig, like that scene portrays. I'm telling you.
What you're saying in real life? You feel that?
Yes.
Well, and then there's the pig thing, and pigs.
Yeah, I know. That's where I go with it automatically.
So you know how when we watched like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, it becomes apparent that Quentin Tarantino likes feet, bro. It becomes real dang apparent that that's like his little foot fetish.
Oh yeah, he writes himself in as a cameo so he can like suck on someone's like I've got the perfect person to play.
That wasn't a cameo in Still Dawn.
Whoa, he does. He gives him. It's like that scene in Good Will Hunting where Will Smith makes himself, or Will Smith, like where Matt Damon makes himself look good, but you got to realize Matt Damon gave himself all the good lines, right? And that's what Tarantino did. He gave himself the best role, the role where he gets to suck champagne from Selma Hayek's feet,
and it's a pivotal part of the plot.
Yeah,
that's the whole theory.
It's the edge of the turning point of the whole thing. Yeah,
George Clooney's brother.
Got to get this part just right. We're going to have to do it like 20 times.
Bro, I'm telling you, in the same way, Roman Polanski is basically making a fetish film for himself with his own wife.
But there's but there's a awareness, because he's like including the darkest parts of the story as far as it relates to himself, and ever since my baby went away, it's been the coldest day is Lana's line that resonates with that. And there's a scene where there's this child comes up that happens, and Yeah, Roman Polanski never
Oh,
had
you're talking about the
kids.
ball, because there's the
Yeah.
red, white, and blue, and the star ball that he
Yeah.
tosses back to the kid.
Mhm.
And like, yeah, you're totally right.
Which
There's,
speaks
he's
to
like,
Hollywood
America?
legends never grow old.
Right.
The way it was hidden, it will never grow cold. And so, and it speaks to this, like, oh, well, you never had to have kids. You never, you know, you're always on honeymoon. It's, you know, versus Mia
Right.
Farrow's life in the real world. Like, she had kids and tons of heart,
Right.
you know. But with Polanski, you know, he had his poop shoot and ate it too, and went to, you know,
and then filmed it with another guy doing it to his wife.
no, I mean, as far as his being
It's
expelled
weird,
from, you know,
Isn't
he
that
never had to
weird?
pay the sodomy piper. He just
I mean, keep in mind,
got the heck out of Dodge.
Him and Sharon Tate. The reason why it was so charged for a lot of people is that their lifestyle and what they represented was largely connected to the free love hippie movement, but they were a different echelon. They weren't existing on a farm. They weren't those kind of communists, you know, of people just like, you know, actually living on a commune, you know, but they still had this, they still represented the free love movement. And so a lot of Polanski's stuff, like, you know, kind of shows, especially like, you know, post Rosemary's Baby, and even Rosemary's Baby itself, I guess, kind of shows this kind of collapse of all the hopes and the aspirations of what that movement was and what
Like
it represented
a
for him.
postpartum depression.
Yeah, and also connected a lot to like early childhood trauma for him because of
post Moonchild
surviving Warsaw. He's the
postpartum.
only living
Oh,
like person
wow.
that's making
So he's like
big
Magneto.
films who survived the Warsaw ghetto. You know, like that is as a child, like that's so crazy. You know, so it's like I think it's tough because a lot of times to even have that discussion around Polanski, the way that things are so charged, it's like people will treat it as like, oh, so you're sympathizing with, or you're trying to make excuses for the things that he did, or specifically what he did with Samantha Geimer. But you got to look at what Samantha Geimer has to say about it. I'm really not into people deciding what is true and what's not if you're not going to listen to the victim, you know, like the actual person in the middle of it, you know. So like, you know,
what did she have to say again to clarify?
She's had a few, well, there's her book, The Girl, which I couldn't do justice. It's a whole book, but like there's a lot of specific points. She said that the media caused her more damage than anything Polanski ever did. Like, because the media has, like, you know, how she's now she had, not only did she have to be known by this throughout her life, but her treatment of it is like, this is who you are. And so they kind of like put that on her. So she calls herself a bad victim because she's like, A, what Polanski did isn't cool at all. And also like, she recently, like in the last couple of years, like visited him in France, and they're like, they've reconciled things, you know, like they have a communication there. And she'll point out, like, you know, his blind spots and what issues she had with him throughout her book. But she's also at the same time like, here's the reason why the picture of her book is the picture that it is in Samantha Geimer's The Girl. Is she's like, this is a picture that Polanski took that they never showed on the news. They didn't show her from the age she was. Was she 14? They would only show older photos of her like this. And she was upset that she was like, look at my face, like, know who I am, not like, here's some old pictures of me from the past, you know, like, so that was upsetting to her among a lot of things. But
it's,
you know,
sensational, and it, you know, it pins the story in a way that it's a weird way to like throw somebody under the rug with all the other connections to the death of pop culture and the connection to Terry Melcher's house and you know, his relationship, where from my understanding Polanski knew that there were two other guys that were banging Sharon Tate.
That's right. Yeah.
And he kind of put her up to it.
Did he? You have no idea who
is my understanding that that was like, she didn't necessarily want to, but that, like,
is that true? Like, I don't know. I wasn't there. Like, that's where I'm at with it. And that's how I am with a lot of this stuff.
The reports before she died and with the friends that, like, you know, I guess it was Jay Sebring that was just really there for her
he was in love with her.
Well, yeah,
he was deeply in love with her,
and
as
so
far as I can
Polanski
tell,
knew he could go across the country on his escapades and do his thing, and she'd be in good hands.
she'd be in good hands. And that other guy, we went over it the last time. Elon, I can't remember what that guy's name is, but the guy in Cul-de-sac, the blonde guy, who was never in another film,
that
not
Tex-
Hollywood or otherwise.
Tex killed.
The horse
No,
rider?
he didn't die. He didn't die. He was very.
But
he
Tex
was
shot, I guess.
No, I don't think he shot him.
Okay.
I don't think he got shot. He just was in love with Sharon, like Jay
okay.
Sebring and Roman were, and then he never was in another movie after Sharon died, and so that was just the end of his whole film career because he was so devastated. But you know, these are I mean, that's why I say like free love. Like as far as these people were concerned, like you know, there was like a very deep connection between all of them, and it doesn't appear that there was much jealousy, which is the antithesis of what we see with the Manson family, because
Right.
Manson was having sex with all these women. Do you think that Tex Watson was just like totally cool with that? And that just
free love
whatever,
isn't free. If you know, you got to
Free
make a
love
couple
is not
Rosemary's.
free, bro.
You got to make a couple Rosemary's Babies is the thing,
right?
It's-
So they're the two different extremes.
Do you like
Just like-
omelets? Do you like bed eggs? I mean,
Right.
gotta
That's
make
a
a couple-
it's slogan, bro.
It's just like you can say
Free
between
love ain't free, bro.
Manson's White Album, which is Lie, and the Manson family sings at Family Jams. You can see how that is the direct antithesis of the Beatles' White Album, because the Beatles' White Album is the most well-produced, like popular band. Like everything about it is the exact opposite of what Manson's albums were. And so like, you know, and there's that weird thing, I think I talked about it on one of our other shows here, but if you look at that White Album that was signed by all the members of the Manson family, including Manson himself, the place where he says last word ? And it says no, and you're like, is he saying somebody's last word was no, or is he saying the White Album last word, because he's signing the White Album with the rest of the family? Is he saying, is this the last word? And so like either way, it doesn't, like synchronistically, when I look at the White Album, I'm like, it ends with this lullaby. It's like, this is the height of the quote unquote revolution. Like you have, you know, you talk about a revolution, and then it's like everybody go to sleep. And so like I take it that Manson's kind of saying this isn't the last word on the 60s. Like look at American Pie. Like American Pie, the song is all about the British invasion, almost completely. Like if you go through that part by part,
the
that's
day
the
Don Henley
implication.
died or whatever. We're not Don Henley.
Don Henley.
It's the Big Bopper and who is the Buddy Holly and La Bamba,
Yeah.
Richie
Valens.
Richie Valens,
Yeah, when the plane went down.
And so, you know, but that's the day the music died, it also speaks to that people were no longer listening to records at record stores like that.
And people weren't going into drive-in, like, you know,
Right.
what was Harrison Ford's first movie?
His first movie,
American Graffiti.
Yeah,
Right.
that was his first with the THX.
I don't think it was his first, but that's like the big.
Well, the first like major motion picture that was not 1138. That was like an acclaimed thing.
He wasn't in 1138. That was Robert Duvall. But yes, he had the license plate that says.
No, I'm saying Harrison Ford and.
We're a bunch of nerds. Jesus,
That's what the show is.
But it's speaking to this like death.
Not Harrison Ford.
Death of innocence of like
1138 license,
right? But yeah, it's speaking to the death of the innocence of this culture and its integration with technology, and ultimately like a sophistication of the police state.
Right.
Yeah.
So this pairing of Bitter Moon and Honeymoon, like if you can see it in the editing program, like when you look at the movie, like the bar of the movie itself, and then you look at the album and the way that like it's just aligned to the beginning of the movie. Like there's nothing done. It's just like a slot. And the album makes 2 complete rounds, and then it repeats the song Honeymoon once at the end when like, you know, leading to the exact moment that the credits begin. So on the second that the credits begin is when that song ends. And so it makes 2 complete rounds. The first song is the title song of the first song is Bitter Moon. And so it's like Bitter Moon is the only song to play 3 times with the sync. And so the way that it does that, if you could see that, like it's like it fits like a key. Like there's a couple others that have that same kind of thing.
Well, like I said, when they
and Yeah.
Go ahead.
Melancholia and the Infinite Sadness and the film Melancholia do the exact same thing.
That has a shimmery thing with water, which has to do with you know, on the tree with like the moon. Yeah, and that shimmeriness, like that. Yeah, I'm skipping around here metaphysically, but kabbalistically,
Right.
you know, you have this connection with the moon and water.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
men.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. But I think
And
of
so, like
the thing about this movie that's weird is the whole time that they're on the cruise ship, there's movement going on that you know is not real movement. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
the camera angle is faked to give you this like seasick. The whole thing is seasick.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's
true.
the whole
Well,
point.
he
That's
was
how
out
it
at
starts,
sea.
right? She's seasick.
He was out at sea when Sharon died. So when he got the news of Sharon dying, he was on a boat.
We both
That's
know
messed
the
up.
history of violence. Like that's the beginning. Yeah, like we both know the history of violence
that surrounds you.
Yeah,
it's
and
true.
we both know. Yeah. It's just like from the minute it starts, it's like
from the minute.
Oh crap! And then she and then she has the pink flamingo. Like there's the pink flamingo line, and she's sitting there at the bar, the very first scene, Emmanuel Steiner, and she's got this fruity drink with an umbrella in it. And the way Lana Del Rey, she brings up pink flamingo. Pink flamingo
have always fascinated me.
Right, which speaks directly to this connection across the pond to like Universal Studios. All the pink flamingos, you know, that's an iconic.
This movie's the opposite of Titanic.
Yeah, but like David, do you remember how you used to describe this movie in a nutshell as an open letter?
Oh yeah, I actually, and I told Emmanuel Steiner that, and she liked it. She didn't have anything to comment on it, but basically,
and she never said anything again.
No. I mean, I had a lot of communication with her until Elon Musk bought Twitter, and then she dropped out right when that happened. But
good for her.
She was great. But you know,
I've been talking shit this whole time. I'm sorry, man.
No. So what I said to her was, I said that I believe that this album Honeymoon is an open letter to Emmanuel Steiner.
Yeah,
and whether or not that's intentional
to leave Roman Polanski, no one can prove to me that it's not.
Right.
The Honeymoon is not an open letter to Emmanuel Steiner to leave him and come be in a lesbian relationship with her.
Or at least just that this whole thing that she's in solidarity.
I mean, this is Syzygy, right?
She could like, she is an actress. She could come to Hollywood, but she's in solidarity with her husband who's exiled from the United States. What is keeping her, except for him, from just visiting Hollywood? And so notice in the album when there's two songs in particular that really speak to it, but one of them is when she's saying to all I want to do is get high on the beach, baby bye bye. And then that's when she ditches him from the airplane. So like they're going on the flight together. You look at that magazine that she's holding, it has the palm trees. She's looking and she's headed somewhere. You can't see, you're like, where are they going? But she's actually going to fucking paradise. So she comes back having had this whole other experience. He thinks that he's like one-upping her, and then notice the way that it cuts to the moon when she's looking out the window in that scene.
Right. There's a whole thing with the moon and this wavery, like this false light, because the moon doesn't produce its own light. It's a reflection. And and through that filter. And it has to do with nighttime and like the unconscious and the subconscious realms as far as like our shadow and the things that like we don't want to
There's the piggy.
You're gonna jump around. You're giving us nudity on YouTube.
That wasn't even nudity. There were
but you got to be careful because it is there in the movie.
I wanted to see
me there, cowboy.
Maybe unshare the screen and then look at it and make sure that you don't. Do the nip. Don't do the nip.
Careful with that, man. You're flipping around in this movie that totally has nudity in it.
No,
while
he's
we're
dangerous.
Doing a show on YouTube. Yeah,
he's
living on
wild.
the edge there. Yeah.
So like when it starts. Like not much from there's a scene and she you know that part where she's like, boy. It's like it's the first part that you see Peter Coyote and his legs don't work. And it's like he's I forget exactly what she says, like something boy, but it's that part where he's like,
I'm not sure.
The boy, it almost seems like Peter Coyote is like talking to him like, hey boy, like you know, like my legs don't work, I need you to life gives you and she's talking about lemonade, you know,
he's
and
talking about not being whole and stuff like
and
that.
so when life gives you lemons, when you know your legs don't work anymore, I'm gonna need you to like help me out, help my wife out here, she's pretty hot. And Hugh Grant, of course, like, oh, it's, you know, it's just a game. It's all a game is the other lyric. It's all a game.
I got an observation for you guys. They depict a lot of like cheap tricks in this, like film tricks also, but there's kind of like a theme. Like, so there's a scene where they show him shooting a gun and then you realize he's at the fair. And there's a scene that looks like they're getting married, and then you realize it's fake and stuff like that. You get what I'm saying? And then there's also like the guy's doing the magic trick, but you can see
illusions. It's like illusions or dreams or like these wavery things that are, again, like the light of the moon, not real.
Right. The light of the moon's not real. The move of the ocean when the camera's moving around the ship is not real.
Right. Totally. Can I? So the lyrics of this song, what is it called? Burnt Notion, Burnt
Norton. Well, yeah, it's
Norton.
Just like
I don't know.
It's like Burnt Reynolds, but Edward Norton.
But here, like you can sum up like a lot of what this album is this album film pairing is like speaking to with this one thing. So when this plays is when he injures, everything gets injured and everything flips, and now she's in the power position, right? So if you're watching this movie, you've never seen it before, you're just like, oh, is this some crazy chauvinist shit, like masochistic shit, where it's just like and then the whole thing goes in. So, but the whole thing goes in reverse, where she ends up being the dominator.
Isn't that
it? Don't let me be misunderstood.
And so and so as this is approaching in the movie, when he gets hit, and now he's in the hospital, and before the door opens, and she walks in holding the flowers. So then she fucks with him and shows him who's in the power position.
He had done that and brought her
as
flowers.
He's getting in the accident, leading up to the second she opens the door, is right after the last line. So let me read it to you if you don't mind. She says, "Time present and time past are both perhaps present in time future, and time future contained in time past. If all time is eternally present, all time is unredeemable. What might have been is an abstraction, remaining a perpetual possibility only in a world of speculation. What might have been and what has been point to one end, which is always present. Footfalls echo in the memory, down the passage which we did not take, towards the door we never opened, into the rose garden." So as she's opening the door with the flowers, it's like, towards the door we never opened,
which is having a child, maybe.
Oh, well, this is the thing too, is that the rose garden thing, she's holding those flowers, and if she's Roman Polanski's wife, before Mia Farrow played Rosemary, it was set to be Sharon Tate,
right?
So it's just like, and then Sharon gets pregnant, dies 8.5 months pregnant. And so you also have this water theme, and her with the rope. This is gory or whatever, but it's just true. We're just analyzing this. She was found with the rope, and you have in the hangman pose. Yeah. And so you have Mem is associated with the hangman. Mem is water. Right. Like he's over the water. He's being hung over the water. That was
what I was getting to. And then that hangman.
Yeah. And then with Samantha Geimer, the judge is right. It is in water once again. So the synchronicity continues. And like, even like if you go through his other films, like it doesn't fucking matter almost. You look at like Death and the Maiden, that whole MK Ultra film, it culminates at the ocean. You know, like it's all over the
if
place.
you want to talk about films related to synchronicity, there's even a wink towards David Bowie, which is if you want to get into time travel and the whole Valis loop and him, like the man who fell to Earth. But there's a connection to the Paris Eiffel Tower, and she's singing, you know, she's like ground control to Major Tom.
Yeah.
All night long, and then you can see the Eiffel Tower there, which it looks like a radio transmitter.
See,
and so she's like, so it's all about like this transmission, and that song happens twice, and so the second time that it happens, he's actually in you see a neighbor of theirs who has a dog, and so like there's this connection to Major Tom and like a major fool, which he finds himself playing at that point where he's like, he's not being faithful there. He's basically playing a fool. And so he's not getting this transmission. Like, you know, there's so much layered.
Right. But you got to understand, like for me watching that sync film, even the first time I watched it, I can remember is that when she says that, she's talking about the transmission. Like, is the transmission coming through when she makes the Major Tom comment? Like experientially, like as a synchronaut, and it's like, this is like, you know, she's referring to film. So it's like the transmission's coming through a TV.
And that giant like antenna that is the Eiffel Tower, you know what I mean? It's like such a strong image. Yeah. The TV. Yeah, totally. Yeah. And so, there's a number of different French connection things that happen too. Like he gets that medal from, there's that weird dreamy scene where it's kind of odd. Like Peter Coyote gets this medal from a French guy.
I don't know what you're.
He's like, there's a red, white, and blue sash. That's the French flag.
What does he do? What does Coyote do in this movie? Is he just a writer? I don't even know if I've seen the real
newspaper.
movie.
You can see him on the teletype, and he's writing these stories.
Because he's got comic strips on the wall too. Like there's like comic book pages.
There's a specific part where he's writing this thing that he ends up deleting it, and he's like, I've gone into heaven.
Talking to her.
He's talking. I've experienced heaven.
Only to be left on the, what does he say? I can't remember how he phrases it, but it's like, I'm just a fucking piece of shit on the side of the road or something like that. I can't remember. Only to be thrown out into the whatever. But
right.
Vampire alert. There's a lot of weird stuff with like them, like blood. She licks his blood one time, and then sometimes there's like, you notice words behind their heads a lot more when you're not listening to them talk. And so there's like the word vampire behind her a couple of times and stuff.
But I mean, there's a lot to do with sacrifice and like this sense of innocence, and so where she, you know, the very beginning, the first flashback, you see him sacrifice his bus ticket,
right? It's true,
to save her from getting kicked off, and so that it starts out with this really honest thing, and he's like, oh god, that girl's hot, and then she ends up being the waitress at a date that he's having, which I can relate to.
Serendipity.
I can relate to. I had my first date with my second wife. My first wife was the server, which I guess speaks well towards you know, how she felt about it, because she could have like totally ruined the date. But you know, the fact that she was the waitress there for my first date with Amanda, and like I didn't tell Amanda that till years later. Like you know, my current wife, at the time it was like my current wife was our server. But yeah, there's this twist. There's like a lot of humor in really subtle, interesting ways that have to do with things like you know, sacrifices that you don't know what the outcome is, and then it comes around, and then he finds himself like the pig.
Yeah, no, it's true. And like, it's like for me, like seeing that scene where he's like playing the pig and he's going all around, like that is Piggy's. Like he knows the door. Like he made this movie. Like there's no question as to what that's speaking to, you know. And he's a little political piggy being, you know,
Oh yeah, it turns into an opera with Salvatore. The song Salvatore comes on, and all of a sudden it's like when he's propositioning the other guy to have sex with his wife, and it like
amore, fuck my
wife. like the whole mood becomes like an opera, like
Yeah.
you're watching them, and it's like not even like a really good play production opera. It's kind of weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's musical. And that whole scene,
Yeah.
you know, where she's doing the dancing and all of that, like this movie
Oh, yeah.
feels like a real musical at certain points. And when
There's times
Madonna's choreography, it's like, dude, they made this for music that's not in the movie. Like that's
Right.
how it feels to me.
But didn't
there's that one
Vangelis
scene where
did
they
the
go
actual
by like
soundtrack?
there's
Right.
there's like a dancing club,
Right.
and they're like to the rhythm of the music and stuff. It's like,
and
well,
that
and
has,
like showing
that has a
windows and-
cameo in that scene from the two people are famous right there. That's a comedian, the man and the woman in that Stalker Channing. Is it Stalker Channing? Like she makes a cameo a couple times in this movie. So weird.
And then a photographer of Madonna's, and then Madonna's dancer.
The photographer? Tell me about that.
Yeah, they're sitting at that pub. It's like right after the scene where they're like, Madonna's dancer is like right there, and Lana Del Rey's singing. What does she say? You want it deeper and deeper, and she's like grabbing Lana Del Rey's grabbing. Well, not Lana Del Rey, but Emmanuel Steiner's grabbing this dancer's crotch. She's like, you want it deeper and deeper, darker and darker. And so in '92, when this movie came out, the interracial the interracial aspect of this movie, that when this came out in '92 was definitely a lot like, whoa, you've got this like, not only is he cucking him with this dude, but it's with a black dude.
Right, like, but that's not even what's happening though, because the character in the movie is having a severe reaction to what is going on, and he ditches her, and then and that's actually the first turning point in their relationship, where everything was relatively great, and then as soon as he freaking bails on her over his jealousy that was all like wound up with race, so like that.
But there's an interesting connection there, because it's Madonna's dancer, and then you have the scene with like her pouring milk all over her breasts, like the mother's milk, and the innocence connection. There's a play on it, especially with just the pop culture significance of Madonna was blowing up in '92.
That's true. Yeah.
And didn't she get with Hugh Grant?
Did she? Not that I know of. But
I mean,
it's possible. You could look that up.
Yeah.
I mean, Hugh Grant was kind of an awkward fellow. Yeah, I'm sure.
But and also, you remember, other reason I bring up the racial aspect is because who is it that Hugh Grant got a blowjob from?
A prostitute.
A black prostitute.
Right.
Who was like,
that's true.
People are like, oh my gosh, Hugh Grant, how dare he get with one of them? You know, it was like that was the thing at the time, because he was so proper and British, and so across the pond at the time it was very much like, oh, his career's over.
During that dance, I got
better take it to Mulholland, sir.
All
right, I'll take it to Mulholland.
Holy shit.
Oh, what's that? I'm sorry, I was talking over you.
Oh my God, Blackest Day is amazing. Holy shit, that's during the dance.
That's in your notes. Say that's what you wrote.
Yeah. And then he leaves, and the pace changes in the song. Like, it's the same song, but it's no longer that dance part of the song. It goes slower. That's when he's like lighting up the cigarette and throwing it out the window.
Right.
And then they like kind of made you. I think he's watching like The Godfather, and she walks in, which is really weird, because like he's watching The Godfather's wedding scene.
Yeah.
She watches in and apologizes, and then the next song is 24 hours during the piggy scene.
It's only 24
and I write
hours.
my notes. I was like, oh my God, these two do it 24 hours. Polanski's dirty little things.
And I was thinking too at the same time, there's only 24 hours in a day. If someone gives me the opportunity to wear that piggy costume and have that type, like, I'm like, you know what? There's only 24 hours in a day. I'm not going to say no.
Look, I got work in the morning. Do I have to dress in this like this huge black banana hammock and the piggy mask? And
Emmanuel Steiner is still beautiful. If that's what it takes.
So
they do all kinds of stuff. There's bondage. There's leather. There's the whole scene where she like ties him to the chair and then just like kicks him over and then straddles him with no panties. Like, it's messed up. There's a lot of sex in this movie. There's a lot of sex.
I know that Will had to shift around when we were watching this over here. He totally had a boner. He was like super uncomfortable.
I went to the bathroom often. Shut up, man. God,
No, it's a
It's,
really,
it's two different modes. It's very cerebral, you know.
but
I
it's
mean,
such a sexy
It is.
movie.
It's sexy. It is. But it's the
Like,
dude's wife,
right?
and he's wanting you to think she's sexy.
Yeah.
well, there's a movement in the movie that is resonant with. If you're saying it's sexy in the same way that the album is, like, because there's just this kind of like there's this
Album is
different
very
type
sexy.
of communication that feels almost like a moving painting or something. I don't mean that in like the Waking Life or Scanner Darkly sense, but I mean like there's a
in the way a shimmery quality of moonlight, like
yeah, it's true. Yeah, that's one that speaks
There's
to
almost-
it.
there's-
Yeah.
like or the way the ocean looks when the moon is shining on it. It's wavery.
Mhm.
Very
Yeah,
orgasmic.
Like you see that in the very title credits, the logo for that company. It's like wavery water.
it's
climax,
true. Yeah,
relax, climax, relax.
Well, it's the movie
Waves.
starts out right off the bat with seasickness.
Mhm.
So she's seasick, you know. What does she represent at the beginning of that movie is different than what she represents at the end if you've never seen it before. So it's like, you know, you're sympathizing with this character and you continue to sympathize with her more and more, but then there comes a point where you're not quite sure if you should sympathize with her after a certain point with him, you know. But then, well, I don't know, maybe that's just because I'm a man and that turns into my experience, but you know, it's just like they're both really terrible to each other, and it's really just shows you like, here's a relationship that is innocent for all intents and purposes, of Hugh Grant's character with, what's that actress's name that plays his wife? I forget. But you know, that couple who's actually on their honeymoon.
She's
Like,
mousy. She looks like a she looks like she's on like Sex in the City or something too. It's funny, but she's not that actor.
No, but yeah, it's just there's this kind of thing where it's like the other Peter Coyote and Emmanuel Siner, they're like corrupted love. They're like, we've explored this direction for you. Here's where it goes. And Hugh Grant is tantalized by it, but even his wife at the end, when she kisses Emmanuel Siner on New Year's, like they both have their you know, kind of voyeuristic relationship to what this couple is, or what this woman from this couple is specifically. And so then the whole thing just, you know, then you have Helter Skelter at the end. The movie ends with Helter Skelter and a rainbow, oddly enough, you know, like here's something after the storm, so to speak, you know, because they realize what's most important to them. Like this experience is not a bad experience for the relationship. In certain ways, you could argue it's ideal for Hugh Grant and for his wife, because it's like he now knows and she knows, whoa, that isn't all it's cracked up to be. It's no longer tantalizing. So now they have each other.
Yeah,
right?
I can almost hear Hugh Grant. He's like, or yeah, who in my mind's eye or my unconscious sounds a lot like Stewie. He's like, well, that won't work.
Right.
Like,
He's so
well,
proper, but he's all, ooh, you know. Yeah, I gotta say it again. Dana Carvey's bit around this is about Hugh Grant is really where it's at. Like he summed it up quite well. I wish we could just play it right now. But I'm not
yeah,
gonna search for it.
at the tragic end of the movie, he's like, well, I suppose we're going to need some laundry done. Like, but yeah, there's that right before.
How do you fix leather?
No, he said with
you
40
get
years
stains
ago,
out
it
of
would have been Cary Grant. They would have just been like, take it to Mulholland, and he'd be like, oh, fine, I'll take it to Mulholland then. You know,
it's a wonderful ship. Do we ever find out the name of this cruise ship that they're on? I feel like.
Oh, that is a good question, man. There's a weird. What's up with the ULA model? I can't. I'm not sure.
Well, he at the beginning, the ULA model, he doesn't look at her. He specifically doesn't look at her.
Well, you can't see her face, right?
Well, and he doesn't even really
meets her?
notice. He doesn't even really notice her. So it speaks to this, like, before his Congress with her, and then after, where he loses, he's like smoking his cigarette and like really looking at this advertisement with these legs, but it's ULA 36, and then there's like a little 42.
Yeah, it's like weird numbers, and it's like everywhere, and then there's like, yeah, it's wild. Okay, so what are we talking about? What are we doing next? I don't
know what's in your notes.
Yeah, so
what Sing Film is next? Oh, are we only doing this for an hour tonight?
Oh man, come on, bro.
No, I didn't know. I'm just asking now.
Yeah, I thought we were doing I thought we were doing 3
You
hours.
guys just want me to leave it running? You guys
No,
can
I didn't
turn
know
it
if we're
off.
doing
No,
two
we
hours
do
or
an
1 hour.
hour. We can do another one. We can do another one soon. I'll probably have Zach. Like I've been talking about having something like
See, I don't even know if people know
film
who I
analysis.
am, but I don't even know if people know who I am. But we have a music
Zach
project
Cohn.
together called
Right.
Pattern Recognition as well. That we can emphatically say that we didn't intentionally make an album that would both sync up with both
Super Mario Brothers and the Wizard.
Yeah, which has a big 9/11 sync if you want to get all kata about it.
It's true.
You want to get all kata about it. If you
No.
want to be kata about it. Here, look, I changed my headliner now too. I'm a pattern recognition member as well.
Nice. Cool.
Zactron owns Bright Star Studios in
Golden. Yeah.
Golden?
Yeah. It's been picking up. It's been good. I got a recent edition, which I figured I'd bring out just in only because there's so much of it used on that album. I don't know if this is even working.
He's bringing out the bang zooms.
I think it. Yeah, there we go. There's a
What
lot of
jobs?
things
The Grand Empress has spoken. DCP has mutton chops.
There's a lot of that sound on that record, right? Am I right?
Yeah,
Right?
it's like especially at the very beginning. Again, I got to reiterate, like this one in particular, you cannot distinguish that it's real movie or it sounds like a theatrical interlude when the movie starts.
It's like a Quentin Tarantino soundtrack.
It's true, and there's
I've seen Zach used to make prank calls with that thing. He'll call and be like,
I'm
snapping it in and out.
I'm getting a little
Zach, put the toys away.
little bit of feedback. No, that'll be perfect for some effects there. But there was a couple more things I had notes on that I just want to say. Before we finish
can we
up.
please? Can
Yes,
we go a little bit
ahead.
over an hour if we need to, please?
Yeah, go ahead, man. Go ahead. Go. Let's do it.
Okay.
But what are we doing next? For real? We don't have to turn it off. We can still talk about that.
Oh yeah, okay.
What sync film is next?
Yeah.
I don't know. I could be into. In the same train of thought. I guess we could go.
This one was so special to me. I've watched.
Yeah,
it so many times.
Abbey Road and Eye of the Devil would be good. 13, Sharon Tate's first movie with Abbey Road.
Oh, that sounds wild.
Because Abbey Road, the picture on the front of Abbey Road was taken in between the time that Sharon Tate was murdered across the pond.
That
on
photo,
8/8/69, right?
The iconic album cover of Abbey Road was taken within less than 24 hours of Sharon Tate's death.
On 8/8.
So yeah, I guess so. Yeah, 8/8.
Yeah. And so I've always been weirded out by that because there's the whole like 88 and 8 connotation with like a lot of like white nationalists and like
oh God.
But there's like you can't take it out of it because there's the whole race war Charlie dynamic.
Well, that's where I was going
Helter
with it when
Skelter.
you were mentioning that aspect in both the film on itself and especially when it meets the album, like a 42-degree angle of light on water to produce a rainbow. Like there is like very big racial undertones in both the album and the film in certain ways, and she's done that throughout her albums too. In fact, what was it? Blue Banisters, took from that old soul song about the people on like the steamboat. She references it in the album, I think even more than once. And do you know what I'm talking about? Have you guys heard Blue Banisters?
Mm-mm.
She does, she does that, and it's part of it is that she's
what album is that?
Speaking to Blue Banisters.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've a pairing of that with Black Bear, but that's a whole other thing to get into. But she's just thematically she has repeated themes throughout her albums, and in certain places you'll see certain things get more emphasized, And so, yeah.
Well,
Kind of
earlier someone made a comment that I forgot to. They mentioned something about one of her tour, like a piece of what do you call it, merchandise that she had available on tour, which I think he was talking about a Coke spoon. And so the funny thing to me is that I don't know if it was at the time, but afterward, Lana was dating a pig or dating a cop. And she was literally selling his merchandise like little cocaine spoons, like little Coke spoons.
you know what?
Yeah,
So
somebody put that in the chat earlier.
He lived in Tulsa or lives in Tulsa, and so their relationship would work
cop?
because the cop, and so he has his life there. He's not leaving his career. It's just so the last album, there's a tunnel under Ocean Boulevard. If you look to her explanation of what the album's largely about, it's like basically like a love album for somebody that she knows she's not going to be with. So it's a romantic like communication around something that's it. I guess this doesn't work, and so but I love you nonetheless.
Huh.
So yeah.
But if you had asked Jason Barrera, it's a different.
See, my thing with Jason is I don't see why that has to be a conflict. She said that. He might not want to hear that, but that's her explanation. Does that mean that that's all that it is? Of course.
I think she's wrong.
You think Lana's wrong about her own album?
No, I'm joking.
I mean, this is
no,
the
that's
thing.
the funny. That's a funny thing. You know.
I don't see the why it has to be one or the
I don't
other.
either.
Like
It's
there's
not mutually
layers to what's
exclusive.
being articulated.
Right. If causation doesn't equal causality. Oh man, look at that
I don't
cover.
see
That
conflict.
album covers or the movie poster is so.
Well, that's
good.
the part where it shows the mound. It shows like
Yeah. No, there's a clear, interesting angle there.
Yeah.
Bush was president, so in the times where Bush is king, you gotta show him your butt.
something just looks wrong with this. This almost looks like AI art. Look at his hand and stuff. Like,
Well, it looks very much
like
so
there's
like
some
there's a
subliminal messages or something.
well, it looks
in it. It's weird.
sacrificial or like an altar like bowing down or there's definitely some
Definitely. What
Sort of,
is?
so why did,
Yeah. What you got? You get more notes?
yeah.
You share some of them over here.
Yeah, so there's that very it's still in the very first part. I feel like there's so much that happens even just in the first 10 minutes. It's just like
Sure.
huge. Where Peter Coyote is like wheeling down the hallway and it's like this eerie kind of liminal space. And he's like, yeah, come with me. And it's right after like the part, what song is it like? Yeah, where she says, boy. But yeah, so then they start walking down this like eerie liminal hallway, and the whole movie, and at that point it takes on this really just eerie essence. But it goes yeah, there's that fade right there where it goes into the first where he's on that bus, and this sense of like him losing himself when he lost her.
Yeah, she says, "I lost myself when I lost
you." But there's this irony there because Polanski wasn't around, and for all we have seen about his thing, like had she not been murdered, he wouldn't necessarily he wouldn't have lost himself for a kid and her, most likely. He knew the man that he was.
Well, there's another line too about your bullshit about this is all for me or whatever. What is it? You know what I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm.
Where what is that line? I have to like take out the lyrics and like go through everything because I can't pull it out as easily.
I felt like I needed that too. I feel like I was kind of mess up because I mishear lyrics sometimes too. I probably I should have looked at, but
she's easier to not. She enunciates her words very well. So if you're keen, if you're really like tuning in, you can catch what it is that she's saying. She's not Tool, Like I can hear what Tool's saying, but it's
not Maynard.
But yeah, the whole sacrifice of a child thing, like Hollywood legends never grow old.
Yeah.
The way it was hidden, it will never grow cold. So like his love for Emmanuel Steiner never had to like grow cold because he didn't have a kid.
Right.
That's interesting.
Also, you can't have a kid if you're doing it in the butt in a hot tub. Just saying.
With the kid.
But
I'm
and
sorry.
as far as tunnels go, Jack Nicholson had a tunnel to the Playboy Mansion
at that house.
And so when he was in
no one
what's
ever
her
talks
name's
about
fudge tunnel in his hot tub, you know, so to speak, you know,
Why are you guys? Who's messing with the Graham Empress, man? Who's in the chat room messing with the Empress?
I don't.
Anyways,
whatever.
go ahead. You were saying?
Oh, I was just talking about Jack Nicholson's tunnel that leads to the Playboy Mansion.
Oh,
and
there's like
the
stuff
tunnel
talking
that led
Diddy
to
doing
his
that now.
extradition for Polanski's extradition out of the country.
Right. It's totally. I'm with you. Yeah. And
you know
so
what I mean? Yeah, there's this clear sodomy. You know, there's just a weird. There's a weird thing, and the freaky there's taboos all across this that it's like. And you know, Polanski's thing is like, oh, that's like your judgment. That's society's judgment. Like, it's not my problem.
Well, he's holding up a mirror, and he comes from what he came from, and aspects of his personal life are embedded into certain films in really direct ways. You know, some of it is Holocaust stuff, some of it is different traumas, and so he kind of uses his films as like kind of like a psychoanalytic like fit in a way, like just like, here, I'm going to throw all this out there, all these things that, you know, but they're both personal and impersonal at the same time. That's what I see.
Yeah.
So like, because these things are larger societal phenomenon and different things that people go through. But really, the movie, like all along the way, you could take it up to this particular point that this is like an advertisement for that stuff. Like this is a celebration of that stuff. But really, when it comes down to it, it is the exact fucking opposite.
Some people just want to get high on the, get high on the beach, right? High by the beach.
Well, that's where she went, and then
high by the beach.
Yeah, and she says bye-bye, but then she comes back, doesn't she?
Right.
When he's in the vulnerable position, and how does it end for her? Like, she could have continued to just get high on the beach wherever she was at from there.
That scene always bothers me because she has that weird hair. She looks almost like Andy Warhol. I feel like there's almost like a.
Oh, you mean when she's kissed the chef?
You're so Art Deco.
yeah, but yeah, she looks like Andy Warhol, and she looks like she's aged and looks all fake, and so it's like, it's very odd within the whole other cross-cultural, cross-contextual analysis that we're presenting here that Andy Warhol shows up. But she's like sickly and like looks old. But then the next scene that you see her with the banana, because the banana phone generation is a totally generation than the diner, car hop, Buddy Holly generation.
Yeah, it's true.
You know, and so they took a balloon or a banana phone up their butt to France.
I don't know where you get the butt thing with the banana phone. Like, she speaks on a banana phone while she's on the bed. I don't know.
And it's very obvious that like this camera is like doing this 1-point perspective on her ass.
Okay, I don't remember that, but I'll take your word for it.
I do.
Okay, it's just like
never forget.
Okay.
Amanda, if you're listening to this, or Emmanuel, both, there's no problem.
There's no problem.
Did you see Emmanuel Seiner's letter to the Academy?
I did.
That's something else. And last time I went looking for it, it's a little harder to find it in full. You'd find these little excerpts from it, but you want to read that full response to the Academy, because it's them reaching out to her for the Me Too stuff. And what she communicates, like, I couldn't do it justice, but it's really something kind of heavy, and also very much ahead of the game. Like, I think that what she said in that letter, if like most people were to read that now at this moment, because tides have kind of done what the tides do.
Well,
you know,
again,
like,
it speaks to sacrifice.
Does it? How so?
In the sense that it's like, in the sense that he was a sacrifice to that era and Hollywood. And those, you know what I mean?
Well, like, what they do is they kind of imply that she's not a feminist unless she gets on board with this particular movement,
right?
And
she hasn't made the sacrifice,
and she's basically like, "How dare you tell me that I can't be a feminist?" You know. And then she shares about her story, and it's very personal. But you know, that is really a doozy of a letter. It's right up there as far as like the narrative stuff goes with Moses Farrow's open letter about Woody Allen. You know, like that's also a huge recommendation if people want to look up the Moses Farrow open letter. That's whew, I had to reevaluate everything I thought I knew about Woody Allen.
It's true. That's my daughter. Grand Empress is my daughter, dude. She's known these people for a long time.
All right. Well, we gotta end this pretty soon here because it's getting a little late.
We'll go a little bit longer, bro. It's fine. I mean, I'm happy.
So do we want to play a little Kabbalistic game here? A little gematria.
Zach's
thing.
got tricks.
Yeah, let me grab some. I'll be right back.
Oh, it's like that. You got any more notes, Will?
I mean, we've kind of like gone through everything. There's some stuff I don't want to get into about Peter Coyote, but
you know that Peter Coyote
it's really easy to watch. I gotta say, beyond a shadow of a doubt. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, it flows. It flows, and it also does that thing where it delivers, and it delivers at certain points in the film, big time. So like one of them was the one I was pointing to where he gets hit by the bus, and the other one is just the culmination of the ending, and the way that Honeymoon, the song, comes in at the end of Bitter Moon, like the last time, like, and the way that it finishes just at the point right as when the credits roll, like right before the credits roll, the album actually ends. Like, what are the chances of that? But not just that, like, it's not just a matter of like the data or whatever, it's a matter of the delivery, like, because it's like it seals it up, you know what I mean? Like, you're like, because that's what a film is supposed to do on its own in the first place. Like, everything kind of culminates, it comes together, and then it kind of like, you know, drops out, you know, like right at the time when it's supposed to drop out. So couldn't be any more satisfying as far as that goes.
I definitely enjoyed this album by Lana Del Rey more than the other one, but I gotta ask,
more than Norman.
Maybe you've said it and I didn't realize what you were saying or what you were talking about, but why did you pick this album for this movie?
This album to me screams of being like an open letter to a manual signer. To me,
okay.
So like I was on a trip with that, and
there's no other connections other than
there's a lot of connections, and sometimes this doesn't happen with all the album film pairing stuff, but sometimes I get it in my head at the resonance. Like I look at the movie in my head, and I look at the album, and I'm like, oh, those are like, it's like a magnet. So this is one of those examples where it just, these two came together like a magnet for me.
Would you ever use that album for another movie?
I never have. I mean, could I? Sure, I could experiment, but this just does what it does, and it's just so satisfying. I don't have a pool to do that. There is something to be said though for album film pairings like this, where I didn't try the film with anything else. I never tried the album with anything else, and this is what it does. So like, that's experientially for me. It's like,
do you have a Ninth Gate pairing?
I've experimented a lot with the Ninth Gate, and no, I've never come out with anything that's really magic. Yeah, and that's Emmanuel Signer too. And then you know that.
Oh, really? That's her a little older. Shit, you're right. Yeah. Holy, I didn't. So she's the devil that screws.
She is a Scarlet Woman. She's not the devil.
Yeah, she's the devil, the floaty lady. She's the floaty lady.
Who, Emmanuel Signer?
Emmanuel Signer plays the Scarlet Woman in the Ninth Gate.
Lady.
So she's Lilith, and so that's the end of the movie when she's on top of him.
Yeah,
she's on top of Johnny Depp. Right.
She's
so that
she's right in his bed.
So at that moment, Johnny Depp becomes the Beast because she's the Scarlet Woman. That's what that is.
I didn't look this up beforehand, and I put my faith in the the crazy madness of playing Kabbalistic games like Gematria, but this is Godwin's Kabbalistic Encyclopedia. I don't know if you've played around with it, but it's so Emmanuel Signer, who was basically 3 years old or 37 months old, 18 days when Polanski's ill-conceived, never-born child was horribly murdered. So that 1144 I was looking to see because there's
Bro, it's full circle.
so the 1144 is the number that I came up with, is like 1,144 days when she was born. And so there's not an entry for 1144, but literally 1145. The god of hosts, name associated with Hod, with water, and the West.
Wow. Yeah, there you go.
And so the whole,
he's in exile from the West.
Yes.
The whole thing relates to water.
And the whole thing, so like,
and
you know,
also,
I couldn't have planned that out any more perfectly. That's like,
right. But just so you know, like when you're looking at gematria, to add one is a very common thing to do because of the Aleph. And you will see that if you look at the Greek gematria for the Scarlet Woman as it appears in the book of Revelation, because that gematria is 667. So the Scarlet Woman rides atop the beast, which is 666, totaling 667 for who's on top. You just
if you added a minute to the, you know, the Lana Del Rey album at 666, if you added a minute on the same token. But yeah, no, I was going to say earlier.
Also, I'd have to check, but I think it might be a minute of the credits, because the album ends right when the credits start. Not just the album, but Honeymoon's third repeat, which is the first song on the album. So like when that
does, and you play the last
say that
song.
There's actually an extra minute.
Yeah.
I'd have to look at how long it is. Exactly.
Oh, I bet it's a minute.
Probably. Right. Well, there is a crazy one. There is a crazy one with that, and that's Ready Player One, the Oasis album that came out that year. That was like the last big thing from Oasis, even though it's like the definitive compilation album. That album, if you started on the second that the movie starts, will go through the whole movie and go past it at exactly 1 minute. And so if you watch the movie, you have Zemeckis's cube allows you to go back in time 1 minute in the movie. And so, and the last line that you'll hear in the album right before the film cuts out is the lyric, "I need more time." So he says, "I need more time," and then it cuts off, and then you have the minute. It's so weird.
Oh, that's trippy coolness.
Yeah.
But for real, what are we doing next?
I think that's good. I think we should go with Abbey Road and Eye of the Devil. I'll send it to you. Also known as 13, because Sharon Tate's first movie was called 13. Her last movie was called 13 Chairs. 12 plus 1, actually.
That
had two working titles.
Because she was fairly new when she died, wasn't she?
Yeah, but she's in several different movies over that time. You know,
Are we talking about a dozen? Are we talking about
she was in like there was 2 movies that came out about Barabbas. There was Barabbas and there was Give Us Barabbas. One I believe was with Keir Dullea, and the other one was with Sharon Tate. And so, you know, small parts, but nonetheless, that symbolism's there. And I believe
with
those
Barabbas,
came out the same. I think those came out the same year, and one is like a Hallmark movie, so whatever. But Sync doesn't care, you know.
Sync doesn't care. Sync
doesn't care about
crap.
that. Yeah.
Just so you know, 13 chairs would have 52 legs.
Oh, interesting. Really?
Yeah.
Is that Bina? Bina's 52? Am I correct?
So 52.
No, I think that's wrong. Actually,
no.
I should know the gematria of Bina. Bait is 2. Noon is 50, and Hay is 5. So it's 57.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
Yeah. Never mind.
Hey yo, you are correct.
You are correct, sir.
But yeah, 50 is Ben, son, a title of Tiferet, the secret name of the world of Asaya.
Asiya.
Asiya? Okay.
Yeah.
I've been saying that wrong.
It's all right.
Well, guess I'm going to Jew hell.
No, I think you're okay. I think it's just, you know, just don't try to pronounce the name, you know, because even if you could.
That one?
Whoa.
Oh, I think is there a yud in Bina? No, there isn't. Yeah. Interesting.
The Fearless Vampire Killers, or Pardon Me, but Your Teeth Are in My Neck. Starring.
Yeah, this had several different titles. A lot of these movies have different working titles. So that's the thing. With her first movie had 2 working titles. Her last movie had 2 working titles. One is Eye of the Devil. The other is 13. And then with the last film, one is 13 Chairs or 12 plus
What
1.
is this?
If you put those 2 posters side by side of 13 and 12 plus 1 when it was released as such, it's
what
pretty
is
weird.
this?
Uh,
Hilary Duff as The
it's-
Haunting of Sharon Tate, 2019.
It's not very good, but if you have a synchronicity with it, that would be interesting. But yeah.
David, somehow I got to get you to see
Day of the Dolphin.
the Avalon pairing with this
Hilary
documentary about this mall called Cinderella City. It's got to be one of the most. It's maybe the first sync documentary as far as pairings go.
Oh, interesting.
Will and I have watched it a number of times, but it has to do with the creation of this mall. Who
I was thinking about this earlier today. I knew we were going to talk about this. The Cinderella City
and Roxy Music Avalon.
Yeah. But the Cinderella City documentary is about this mall that was built in Colorado that was like a super mall. They basically called it a campus where they had like, there was an office building in it. There was a huge like room where you could fit a whole car show in the center room, which was basically the food court.
Giant
It was
vaulted ceilings and these fans. It was all like very modern, flowing, cool, like deco.
right.
No,
And they had
not deco,
weird
but it
stuff.
was.
It had like it had an alley in it. It was called Cinder Alley,
Cinder Alley.
but it was like
But it was all like
was
magical themed and like, yeah, Cinderella City. It was just
right. It was like the Diagon Alley in Harry Potter. It was like, but it was made to look like
streets.
it was an
city
old
streets.
street corner by using it. It was very, very Disneylandish. You get what I'm saying?
So,
Yeah.
so look here. We have all of these TV shows. We have one movie in the mix, and it's Barabbas.
8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So it's mostly shows, huh?
Yeah, so you got to count just what the films are. You know?
Yeah, which like a TV is like a false thing. So yeah,
Yeah,
She's
and
not even credited
Barabbas
in
is
Barabbas.
Barabbas is such a super small part, and it's also not this is like a
Beverly
made for TV movie or
Hillbillies.
something.
so
That would be way fun to watch.
Speak to Barabbas as it relates to like Jesus.
Oh, well, Barabbas is who who's chosen instead of
Yeah.
Jesus.
Who do you
So-
want to rule you? Jesus, the king of
Right.
the Jews,
So
or do you
so-
want Barabbas, this piece of crap
but-
criminal?
but
And they
it's
chose the criminal.
it's a joke. It's a play on words because Barabbas is son of the father in Hebrew, and so you're like, do you want this son of the father or the son of man, so to speak? So like it's just it's really too bad that we have to relate for like eternity that it's like this is the Jews killed Jesus as the Romans killed Jesus because the group that happened to be there at that moment in this story voted for Barabbas rather than Jesus. The point that I would make is we know nothing about this Barabbas. We have nothing to go on. Who was Barabbas? Like Barabbas could have been the shit. Like I have no freaking clue. You know what I mean? Like it's like, well, shit, that's Barabbas, bro. Like he's oh my god, So I don't know.
That's the 13 movie you were talking about, right? Eye of the Devil.
Right. So this is her first real, real production, that's not a TV or like made for TV super small part movie. And so yeah, and then you can see 13 Chairs it has as her also last,
known as 12 plus 1. Well, that's supposedly that's cool. That's a good like place to start with like a sync investigation right there.
Well, yeah. So this movie is about money that's hidden in these chairs, and she's going around. People are going around opening chairs with a knife. So they have like a freaking kitchen knife, and they're going around just like slicing these chairs open, looking for money through the whole movie. And it's got is it Orson Welles in it? Am I tripping? I think it's Orson Welles is in 13 Chairs. But yeah, this movie, Eye of the Devil, the one that I think we should probably watch next. That one has David Niven in it, And it's if have you ever seen the
What did you pair
spoof
it with?
of
Abbey Road?
Abbey Road. So, David Niven played 007 in Casino Royale with Peter Sellers. And in the movie, he plays the real 007 while Peter Sellers is playing the movie 007 in the movie. So it's kind of meta.
Yeah.
But the thing is that where David Niven lives in that movie, the castle where he lives, is so remarkably similar to David Niven in 13 or Eye of the Devil. And so oh man, so what was the deal? So Ian Fleming, he said that his original vision for who would play 007 was David Niven. Yet David Niven only plays him in Casino Royale, which is a spoof on 007 movies, as playing the real 007. It's such a trip. But he's the guy, he's the king who gets sacrificed in Eye of the Devil.
Oh,
the
that's
king,
wild.
so to speak.
That's wild. That's a wild irony as far as the king kill thing goes.
Oh yeah, because the reason why it's called 13 is because it's 12 plus 1, because they have the 12 disciples and the 13th is Jesus. They say this in the movie, and they perform the sacrifice on the 13th. And so this is apparently Sharon. I think Sharon was basically playing out the archetype of the high priestess mixed somehow with the hangman. There's a really weird relationship thing happening, but then he has
007 times 2
but
minus 1.
He has Emmanuel Signer in the 9th gate playing the Scarlet Woman that appears in the Strength card, which is the 9th arcana from the top, right? Which belongs to that ninth pathway from above, of course, that's in between Chesed and Gevurah.
That's cool.
Yeah, there's a huge Kabbalistic significance to that, and the High Priestess intersects with that as the 13 from below. So the pathways,
there's that
9
twist
above.
there. It's like potatoes, Scarlet Woman, Whore of Babylon.
There's a dimensional shift that exists with that gimel, and it's the meaning of the Masonic G.
Yeah.
So you have the Masonic G is composed of the square and the compass. The square is the top of the lower Sephiroth, which is Gevurah, Tiferet, and Chesed. And then the compass corresponds to Keter at the center top, and Chochmah and Bina. And so that intersection, you have the G in the middle, that's for the Gimel, that's for the camel. And so that corresponds to the Empress, which is the waters. You'll notice when you look at the rider deck of the major arcana that the sea is behind her, and a river that is a river running through the other cards, particularly the feminine.
Which on that middle pillar is a continuation of basically Tav or time and Saturn and Temperance, or the art card, up into the the support or the service upon the higher thing, or camel, Camel. There's that mistranslation there. It's easier, to get a camel through the eye of a needle than it is to get a rich or a banker or a rich man or a money changer into the gates of heaven. But yeah, I always thought that was interesting. In that middle, Somic, and it's Somic's relationship to Temperance.
Well, that
and support through. And that transmutation of pain, which we see so much of, that transmutation of that pain and that hardship and the brutality of Polanski's life,
right?
Beauty of to have his back's oh yeah. So here's a guy, it's a good film. Give it a chance. He's had a hard time. His wife and baby got murdered. Just give, But no, what he's been able to do to
his other wife got screwed by Peter Coyote.
Yeah, right. Yeah, he had to direct this movie with Peter Coyote all up in his wife, and there's a scene where it even looks like he might be hitting that other hole.
This guy brings the banana up again.
No, I'm just saying there's a thing with there's an interplay with that, speaking to
the poor holes. What?
One hole produces a baby, one doesn't, and he made it
okay.
One cruise gets if he had to not.
I kind of see what you're getting at. Actually, there is an interesting connection there. I don't. Yeah. Okay, I kind of follow you.
His cruise to the blues,
they
lost.
I can't be a part of this.
Did you catch that? You said it. There's a zillion examples, but literally, I could cruise to the blues in the first song, "Honeymoon," while this movie starting, you're on a cruise ship. Like this whole movie, even though you go elsewhere into the past, you're still on that cruise ship.
You
Like,
never
and
leave
it
the
speaks to this
baseline of the movie.
sadness. But even in the main character, Peter Coyote plays, like he's a writer, he's an artist, and his depth of emotion and capacity to feel and capacity to have empathy, and even at the end, he still wasn't willing to let the guy fuck his wife.
Right, but that doesn't happen in the movie.
No.
So he's all jealous. Like that's the
And
thing. He's a very jealous person.
So there's a sacrifice there.
Right, but they're acting as though they're so open, and where
and that in itself is a sacrifice because they're not able to. So it speaks to that thing. Like at the end, they're like, "Well, maybe we should never be swingers. I guess we'll see that this laundry gets clean in this room."
There's no free love in that movie.
Yeah.
So like that's the thing, and it's all masquerading as like we're swingers, and it's all well and good, but it's really dysfunctional. And it's really fucked up.
But the difference between the banana phone generation,
right? But this is it. This is it. You have somebody who's coming out of what the whole '60s thing was, something so devastating attached to him. It's part of American Pie, and then he goes from there, and he's like, now we're at this time in the freaking early '90s. And he's just like, what has happened to all this? Like the whole, like, not just that movie, but a lot of his movies speak to like that we had a rising wave, we were headed somewhere, and then it's like this is all disillusionment. It's like, oh, it didn't it didn't work out. It went tragically.
Isn't that what it reminds me of Hunter S. Thompson, what he said about how like everything just crashes, the whole 60s crashed against the banks of the
San Francisco in the middle 60s was a very special time and place to be a part of. And no mix of music or memory could touch that sense of knowing that you were alive and there at that corner of time in the world. There was madness in any direction. You could strike sparks anywhere. There was a fantastic universal sense of whatever we were doing was right, that we were winning. And that, I think, was the handle. That sense of inevitable victory over the forces of old and evil. And not in any mean or military sense, we didn't need that. Our energy would simply prevail. We were riding the crest of a high and beautiful wave. Now, less than 5 years later, you can go up on a steep hill in Las Vegas and look west. And with the right kind of eye, you can almost see that high water mark, that place where the wave finally broke and rolled back. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah. I'm calling it. It's time to cut it. We're leaving.
You brought a tear to my eye.
All right, now look, I wanna make sure that we do highlight the fact that you did make a video out of one of our songs. I know it's like shameless self-promoting.
Our albums.
Yeah, our whole album.
We got a whole other album to do.
We got a whole other album.
We did it. We just have to
in
finish
the pocket. Isn't it the very last one? No, it's right here.
Our album?
9/11. Oh, wait.
What are you telling me?
9/01. 2011. When did you put this out?
I don't know.
9/11 2001 is when that is. There's a time travel.
None of that makes sense.
Well, just
9/11/01 LA to Oz.
Yeah, click on it so we can see it. So you can see the two posters with your album.
I gotta make sure that the sound. Well, we could play this sound, couldn't we?
Yeah, we own the. Yeah,
you own it. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah,
you gotta click on it.
Yeah.
You gotta click it. You just gotta click it.
What?
You just gotta click it.
Can't you guys see this?
No.
Oh wait. Okay. All right. Hold on. Yep.
I'm listening to something, but yeah, there you go.
I am proud of that album cover. I will say
that's a great album cover. It's true. Did you put John Lennon's face on Luke Skywalker like that?
Yeah, because I noticed that like John Lennon's holding the French horn in the same way that Luke Skywalker is holding that helmet.
Oh, okay. Is this from the cover of Sgt. Pepper that you took that face from?
That face, yes.
Yeah. Okay.
So even his neck position, like all his musculature makes sense somehow.
I don't think anybody can. We're playing this pretty loud. Can you guys hear that?
No, I don't think it's coming through.
Not coming through.
I think
you would have to do the sound through.
I don't think it works that way.
Yeah, you'd have to.
I don't think
you got to pay the piper.
Yeah. No, I don't know. I don't know if we would have to pay the piper. I just don't know if you could to
pipe the sound into the right place. Though you got there's a little pipe man who lives there, and you got to pay the piper
Andreas
to pipe the sound.
Should ask Andreas for pointers for stuff
I
like
will,
that.
because Andreas is better at this than I am, and he makes fun of me about it.
No, not at all. No.
No, he does. He does.
That's just because he's in the CIA.
Honestly, we got to come up with I need to come over. We need to finish the album we were talking about, but also we need to come up with a movie that we can inspect together, man. Like just something we can bullshit about and talk for about an hour. The idea of watching the Abbey Road with the Sharon Tate video is dope, but I also want to check out 13 and 12+1 because I didn't know about that.
Yeah, I don't have any syncs for that, but yeah, that's a weird one. It's really low budget. When I believe it's Orson Welles, when he's got a razor and he comes out and he goes, "I'm Jack the Ripper." You're watching knives getting stuck into chairs through the whole freaking movie. And what's weird is that the knife that was used, sorry, it's gruesome, but yeah, the knife that was used to kill Sharon Tate was actually stuck into the couch that was by her body. They pushed it into the couch, and so it's sticking straight up. And so, but what's weird is like that murder happened after Rosemary's Baby, where the knife goes on the floorboard and it's sticking straight up, So it's all kind of weird.
I got an idea. Zach, let's watch The Ninth Gate, and then we'll watch.
All right.
Let's watch The Ninth Gate, and then we'll watch.
That's a Johnny Depp one, right?
Right. Yeah, but
Wrecking
that's
Crew.
Polanski, and it's with
Right.
It's related to what we just watched.
I have watched that before, but I'll watch it again.
I've read the book. The book is a lot different than the movie, FYI. But yeah, there's like scenes in the
what is the Ninth Gate
in the movie that are like a fraction of what they are in the book. What's that?
What is that pairing with?
I don't have a pair for that. I mean, I do incorporate that into a really complex sync with the 3 Star Wars films and Polanski's Ghost Rider and Eyes Wide Shut.
So there's the connection to pattern recognition right there. Yeah, you got.
Yeah, with the White, we could watch that. We could do that. We could do that one and still right in line with what we're doing. You just be listening to the White Album again and Charles Manson's album Lie. But that was the one that blew Andras away. And that one is called, I think I have it on the website, is White Lie, but it's a bunch of stuff all together, like I said. But yeah, that one is kind of a mind fuck, like, because Andras was just like, dude, how did you do this? And I'm like, I didn't do it. It like did itself. Like the Eyes Wide Shut forward and reverse part is like really.
Can you take it back to the part where Dennis Hopper like destroys the Twin Towers?
He does.
When he spins the globe that the Twin Towers are on.
Yeah.
No. When he does it in person, and it's the actual Twin Towers.
And he's like a Trump resonator
in this movie. Like a huge step forward because it's 2 movies.
Yeah, there we go. You got it.
End actually.
It's cool because that particular scene.
There we go.
There's an airplane that flies between them.
Oh, is there?
Really? It's a really you included that sync in our album
it's
with the
so
Wizard,
and
Mario Brothers, and the play with the M and the W and the meta egg is it's great.
Well, I had that was one of my sync things was
and the little monkey. That's it right there
with video games and King Kong and stuff, and I showed the Twin Towers being dissolved and everything like that. So it's like. It was related to our history. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally.
But the evolution about these 2 videos is like what's going on in the Wizard. The Wizard shows them. It's like he's playing what's happening.
They speak to each other.
Yeah, they're very much.
There you go. Whoa! And then the mushroom, the giant phallic mushroom.
Yeah, he has like this evolution gun, and then. When he shows up, I think is like right when he shows up is when the Twin Towers like dissolve.
Yeah.
But if you focus in on it, there's like an airplane between the towers, and like they film the airplane, but when the towers dissolve, then the airplane disappears. So it's really weird. I hope this doesn't. I don't think that this should. Pop anything off.
I would the 2 together like that. It's too. No, it's too weird. It's just
it's too mixed, right?
Yeah, it's too mixed. Changed. It's too weird. Yeah, there we go.
It's right there.
He's about to do it. Yeah.
Yeah, he's about to take it. Yeah, and the little monkey.
Yeah, he just used the Evo gun. Don't move it. You just almost had it.
Don't yell at me, bro. It's like right when he changes, right when he flips over.
You just had it, dog. He was about to do it.
I won't touch anything. Don't yell at me, bro.
Okay.
Don't
right.
trip my copyright, bro.
Okay.
This is when they flip over. It's right when they flip over because them transferring into the other dimension like makes it like.
Can you enlarge it? Can you click on that on the
let me see.
It's on the side, bottom right.
Yeah,
bottom right.
The full screen sign.
No, I mean the bottom right on the
video
screen.
Yeah,
on the video. Go to the corner of the video.
Corner.
Oh, you mean? Hold on.
What am I holding on for?
There you go.
There you go. Yeah. So if you're gonna show
that
it,
take up the whole screen?
Yeah, we're good.
Yeah.
Bro,
You just got the power up. You got the mushroom. Now the screen's big. We're good. Boop, boop, boop,
Yeah,
boop.
but I think we move further away from.
There we go.
Look. Boom.
What?
Did you see it?
No, I did not see an airplane.
I didn't see an
the
airplane.
airplane? Why?
I didn't see it.
Okay. All right.
It's got to be. Like
And
right
Kevin
there.
from the Wonder Years is like nonplussed about the whole thing.
Right. Okay. John Leguizamo.
Oh, come on! There it goes.
Here it is.
Right there. You see it? There's like it almost looks like okay. So what is that?
I'm sorry, man. I'm gonna have to take this and like blow it up on my big screen and like walk up to it.
I've never noticed the
I'll
plane
point. Watch, dude. Oh my god, it's right there. How can you not see it?
I don't know. Maybe our screen is smaller than yours.
Yeah, here I gotta. Here,
Definitely.
I'm ordering a bigger monitor right now. Let's see. Okay.
Right there. There's like a light.
Oh, there's a light. No, what is that? That's
it's a
real
plane.
weird.
If you focus, you can see
Oh,
it. Right
there we go.
You're right.
What?
I totally see it. I believe you.
If you focus
weird.
in
And
on it, it's an airplane.
Is-
Bro,
or-
it's weird.
I think it's a UAP. It's an it's not I can't say that it's an airplane. It's a unidentified aerial phenomenon.
Guys, listen. Can you still hear me?
Yeah.
My camera is dead, so we have to call it quit.
Well, it ended at you look very handsome where
Thank you. I appreciate that. I actually look
anything.
like I'm being hypnotized, but whatever. Look, man, I love you both. It's been a while since we had a little powwow, all three of us. We used to do it a lot when I would go over to Zach's often, but maybe we should start doing that more often. Now,
no, life happens. It's all good. We got an album to do. We got different stuff going. I'm proud of all the stuff with Meta Egg and
right, cool, man.
cool.
Yeah, you had a big there was a time where I went in and I was like, man, I need to start up a YouTube channel. I got to do it now. I want to do like metaphysical Easter eggs. And Zach goes, what are you going to call it? Meta Egg? And I'm like, I am now. Yeah, I think that sounds like it will work.
Yeah, hey,
and now you have people
good,
calling me
good.
CIA agents and saying that I changed my name to Meta Egg. Didn't happen.
I came up with that name. Yeah, that was me. Yeah, wait.
If I am CIA, Zach, you're my handler.
Wait till that guy hears about how
These guys say they're in a band together.
Yeah. Well, no, you were shopping at the Guitar Center that I was working at.
Right. Yeah.
Where at the same time I ended up donating a microphone to Freeman's channel after some customer was like wanted help organizing or doing a podcast to interview Michael Aquino.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's been a long, strange sync ride working at Guitar Center 42 or Guitar Center 422, which I had sold you stuff at Guitar Center before I even knew.
Yeah, we
about
probably talked
synchronicity
multiple times and never just realized who we are. And then we were like somewhere.
The Mercury Cafe of all places, the Mercury.
Like I know
Mercurial.
that guy. I know that guy.
With Freighter X at the time.
Mm.
All right, now listen. We got a lot of Sharon Tate to investigate. We got a lot of the Scarlet Woman to investigate. I want everybody to hit like and tell everybody that they know about Meta Egg. And I think that about covers it, man.
There's one more thing, and that's that you should put, if you haven't, in the description of this episode, you should have a link to the website where Bitter Honeymoon exists. so that people can get to the syncbook.
Yeah, I think I need to
Oh,
go
yeah.
back and do that to all of them.
And I wanted to
Sync
say,
Media Research.
that there's an excellent, cool way if you have a smartphone or a TV or Roku, or there's a way that you can broadcast without having any issues using your Android or iPhone. There's this webcast app that you can broadcast any of the sync films and watch them on a Roku,
Right,
or a
and it's really
smartphone.
good. It's a lot better on a big screen. It makes a huge difference.
Oh yeah, totally. I feel like David Lynch with that one, where he's just like, you know, you can watch a movie on your fucking telephone. Yeah,
the
but,
app
you know,
only costs a couple dollars, but it's called Web Video Cast, and it makes it super easy to go to SyncBook and connect your smart TV or whatever, and that way it's not like you're having to watch it on your phone or
yeah, or you can just go to browse on your if you have internet on your television, you can go to browse and watch it that way too. But yeah, I hear you.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Much love to you guys and everybody out there. I think that's enough. That's all I got in me.
All right.
Everybody talking shit to my daughter, knock that crap off.
Yeah.
Oh, in the comments, I guess. Yeah.
I haven't even seen that.
Bye, guys. I'll talk to y'all later.
Yeah, man. Peace.